Hello, I'm Jonathan Womack, and welcome to this edition of Community Insider. Stay tuned. Coming up, we're bringing you to the location of the Prosperity Point here in Warren County, Tennessee, and what it means for the home program here in Warren County. And we'll tell you more about that coming up on this edition. Stay tuned.
You know, I know Bill's already talked a little bit about Prosperity Point. That would not be possible without area donations. As he said, Central Church of Christ they have started on the first tiny home, and Centertown United Methodist just gave us a check for $10,000. That is going to go toward the second tiny home that the home volunteers will be building.
Welcome to another edition of Community Insider. Join us as we travel Middle Tennessee, uncovering history and experiencing the adventure of unique stories and events coming to you inside your community.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Womack, and welcome to this edition of Community Insider. We're Mr. Bill Davis. Bill, thank you so much for letting us come out here on a pretty hot evening.
It is hot.
But in our background, you're going to be seeing more of this beautiful spot. Actually, we're on a hill overlooking the area of the future location of tiny homes being made possible by people who's donating and stuff to the home program. So let's begin here. Bill, introduce yourself. I know a lot of people recognize you've been working with the city police department for 18 years, but you also have been doing this for a few years. What got you into this?
Well, actually, I've been doing this a little over a year. With Home. Home started a little over a year with 4 of us meeting at McDonald's and coming up with an idea that we wanted to help in the homeless community here. And from the get-go, it was our desire to have people go from living homeless to being able to have their own home. And doing so, we knew that we'd have to have a tiny home or something so they could move into where they don't have any expenses for about 6 months. And as you know, they get jobs and we can pay the bills, and while they're learning how to do finances, how to cope with life, and gather enough funds so they can move to that next level. And that's what Prosperity Point is supposed to be for. We were fortunate enough to be led to this piece of property, and the city has been gracious from the get-go. There's 6.25 acres, I think, or 6.23 acres here that the city's going to be donating to us here soon. And the first home has already started being built at Central Church of Christ. They drove the first nail of such, or drove the first screw last Saturday, and it was a great sight, I promise you.
Well, first I'd like to say that my co-director, Sheila Fan, she was not able to be with us tonight. And Sheila works with our volunteers, and this is Melanie Evans. She's one of our volunteers. And to do what Home does, it takes so many volunteers. We currently have approximately 60 people that are doing something with Home. And none of these people are paid. We do not have a paid staff. Everybody does what they do just out of the goodness of their hearts. And as far as, I know Bill's already talked a little bit about Prosperity Point. That would not be possible without area donations. As he said, Central Church of Christ they have started on the first tiny home, and Centertown United Methodist just gave us a check for $10,000. That is going to go toward the second tiny home that the home volunteers will be building. And that's approximately what it's going to take to build one of these homes. It's going to be around $10,000 to be able to do everything that we need for one of the homes. And Prosperity Point was based on Jeremiah 29:11. When we decided that we wanted to build a community where people that are living on the streets, living in their vehicles, would have a place to come, a place to rest, and just to regroup and get themselves together, we didn't want it to say, we didn't want a sign that said homeless community or anything like that, because when they come into Prosperity Point, they will no longer be homeless. They will have a place to call home, and they will be able to start putting their life back together. So that's why we wanted to name it Prosperity Point, because we want them to know that we want to see them have a prosperous future. We have area churches that have helped us financially. We have some other churches that are interested in either providing the funds for a tiny home or building the tiny home themselves. You know, we're not picky. We will take it either way. We will take the funds and we'll find the volunteers to build it. Or if somebody wants to do that for a special project with their organization, they can build the tiny home and it can be moved to this site.
The process with those that's homeless coming into the tiny homes, how many months will they be able to stay? What's your hope for future plans?
Okay, the plan is that they will have 6 months. And during that 6 months, they won't just come in here and have a place to rest. They will be required to have a job. And, you know, we need them to get up and go to work every day. We will help them get savings accounts set up. We plan on having people come in and offer financial assistance in the sense of we're going to have people come in and teach them how to budget their money. We're going to have a lot of different programs. If somebody needs to go to rehab, I mean, we're already sending people to rehab even though we don't have our community finished yet. You know, we have a welfare team that works daily. And this group of women are just phenomenal. They are working around the clock. We take somebody in, and this will be kind of the process once we get to Prosperity Point as well. When we get a new intake, we immediately start working with them to see what are their needs. You know, it's not just about getting them fed and getting them sheltered, which that's the first thing that we need to do. But then after we get that process done, it's time to start figuring out, do they need to go to rehab? We have several that are in long-term rehab facilities right now doing very well. Or do they need help finding a job? Or do we need to reconnect them with their family? Sometimes it's just a situation if somebody has ended up here that they've just kind of got stuck here. Maybe they came here, maybe a lady come here with a boyfriend or something and she's been left. We will get them back to their families. We'll get them a bus ticket back to their families. We offer many resources to just help better these people's lives. If someone is wanting to volunteer with Home, we have a Facebook page. You can send us a message on Messenger. We do have a home number, and this number is not only good for anyone that would like to volunteer, but this is the number that our welfare team manages, that for anyone that is living on the streets or anyone that knows about anyone that is in need of assistance. And that number is 931-668-0702. And then our address is 561 Old Rock Island Road, and that is a Rock Island address.
Hi, I'm Darla Seymour, and I have Angela Johnson here with me. We are Volunteers for Home. We're also a part of the welfare team. We wanted to tell you a little bit about the welfare team and how our day-to-day runs. When we have taken in a new friend, a new homeless person, there's an intake form done. It's sent out through an app that we have that tells the situation and where they are. If they've been placed in the hotel, we do sometimes have to put people in hotels due to the weather or health issues, children, women, things like that. But using our app that we have throughout our day, it's dinging all day long. Somebody needs this, or who's going to be able to run over and take, somebody's just called and they don't have any shoes and they're trying to go to a job interview. So throughout our day, we just bounce back and forth off of each other. and just try to meet the needs as best we can. Sometimes, you know, one person will end up doing tons of things and then not doing things for a few days. So I say all that to say, you know, if you're looking to be a part of something like that, we would love your help. Everybody has different talents and strengths, and we have something that would, you know, help, that anybody could use their talents in our group.
The people that has come forward and, you know, want to help and share, you know, their gifts and their abilities, because, you know, we all have different gifts and abilities, but it takes people that care about these homeless people. And, you know, they're people just like we are. We love them just like, you know, you love your family. And our friends know the love that we have for them, and they depend on us for that love. You know, that we might be the only contact that they have, you know, for days on end. And the amount of love that our volunteers give to these people is just amazing. And like she said, we do so much throughout the day that people don't even realize that we do. Like she said, that there might be 2 meals that need to be delivered all at once that a new woman with children come into the motel. You know, it's just things on spur that our volunteers pick up without question, and it's usually somebody volunteered within 5 minutes to do it.
You know, it's easy to ride down the road and see someone walking and think, well, that's a big, strong person, why aren't they working? You know, and until you sit down and had a conversation that, you know, they have severe mental health issues, or, you know, they don't even have an ID or any way really to go get a job. I mean, we've carried people back and forth to work before just to get them there until they could get the first couple of paychecks to get started. So it's just sometimes just for a little bit to help somebody get to that next step is what we really are about. So.
A lot of people didn't realize that Warren County really had a problem until we started seeing more and more coming out on the street. But I'm sure homeless has been here for a long time.
It has.
Now we're trying to make this program the thing that prevents that from happening, even in the future. Some of the programs that some of the future of the program, including the community center and stuff like that, are you looking at maybe teaching and having some learning opportunities for those folks and other folks possibly, or?
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure we're going to have computers available. We're going to have things to train them, you know, right there, right here.
That's awesome.
In this, this community center. It's going to be amazing that, you know, it's going to be volunteers that come in and help them with these skills and help them learn these things that they need. I mean, because, you know, we all need to upgrade our skills even. So to give them this possibility to learn these things, it's just an amazing thing.
You know, if we lose our job, we just, through life, we know the next step. We go and apply for unemployment, or we have different processes for different things. So many people don't even know that things are available that can assist them. So we have those numbers, we have those resources to say, okay, let me get you in touch with it, or let's get you a bus ride over to this agency or whatever. So we just forget that people just have never learned that or know about those things. And once we get those tools in their hands, you know, it really makes a difference.
Even a year ago, I can say when I first started with volunteering with Home, there was a man and woman that finally brought their children in. They was like 17 and 18-year-old, and we're like, you know, this is no way for them to be able to want their children to have this life. You know, it sometimes runs in circles, and then, you know, it's no good. Here lately, with our volunteers and the training that, you know, we're trying to give these people and the encouragement that we're trying to give them, we seen a little girl just the other day who was homeless and who actually got up. She had 2 children, got up out of her situation on to doing better. She's working in. She's going to be working in Cookville now. She's going to have, you know, she's going to have a future for her children instead of being put back in this homeless situation.
Being stuck.
And that's what we're after. That's what our goal is, to get them up out of there.
Well, people have been wondering, how do they get here to Prosperity Point, and how are we going to choose who comes out here? Well, the answer to that question is that folks that we have been doing our intakes, living in tents, folks that's been in hotels, those that have jobs and have just can't get to that next level, they'll petition the board to be a chosen candidate to come out here for 6 months. That's what we're planning on looking at. You have to have a job, you have to follow some rules, and you'll have to have a plan to get out of here and get back on track. So yes, there's a process. You must have lived in Warren County for at least a year, so that way we don't have folks that just come in here from outside. That was a question that has been asked. No, we want to serve the community here because the folks building these houses are our community here. Our churches, our civic groups, our volunteers, the folks here in Warren County are doing what folks are going to be wondering how we're doing it. And I hope that for something that we set the example for other communities on how to get folks off the street so that we don't have the issues other communities are having. So we appreciate all of the donations that's been coming in and all the folks that have actually looked at home and said, hey, what they're doing is awesome, and we can trust them with our money to make our community a better place.